I know a lot of survivors of David Rockefeller, but I don't think you're going to find any accusation online about David Rockefeller. It's all about cover-up. It was very, very good. All the investment, all the money goes, I mean, not all the money, but it goes a lot to the image.
You gave a couple other names to me earlier. I don't want to say it until you're comfortable. One of the names was another famous politician from the West.
Yeah.
How did you meet him?
He was also there that week.
He was also there that week?
Yeah, Pierre Trudeau.
And what was the interaction with you?
Scary.
Was his wife also involved or just him?
I didn't see his wife, or I don't know. I didn't see anybody else but him.
But you vividly remember him. And when did you know it was him later on? Because at the time you were 9, 10 years old.
Yeah, again, this came much, much later. I don't remember exactly when I realized that it was him.
You don't remember when he came to you later that it was Pierre?
No.
Justin Trudeau's father, right? That's who you were talking about.
Yes.
And I mean, you've never mentioned his name before, right? No. Trudeau. What was that relationship like, or the experience like? Was it a one-day thing? Was it a repetitive that happened?
All right, I'll tell you something. David Rockefeller had me trained as a spy. So I was a sex slave, of course, and I was an elite sex slave now. And I was trained as a spy through the mind control training. And so that week, I was sleeping with men, and then I would go report on their weaknesses or their sexual preferences to David Rockefeller.
Why did he need that information? Is that how to blackmail and use it later on in negotiation?
For example. Or if he knows what they want, then he can give it to them sexually. So about Trudeau, I said that I could never please him as long as I was alive. That's how scary that was.
You could never please him?
If I was alive.
With Trudeau?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
It means that he couldn't kill me because at that point I was not a throwaway child. And he scared me enough so that I then tell Rockefeller that that's what he wants, a child to kill. Then you understand that the next time he can, if he wants to use that, he can use it. He can use that information.
Rockefeller.
Mm-hmm.
So how many of these celebrities did abuse you during that specific event that you were at for you to come back and report to David?
Oh, God, I don't even remember. I was very busy. And at that time, and, I want to specify that when I was in Belgium, I always had a distance from the perpetrators, and I always knew that they were wrong and that I, was a human being, and that they, even though they treated me like nothing, that I actually, wasn't worth being treated that way. I knew that. When I was mind control trained, which is based on science, it's horrendous science from, probably related to some of the experiments that were done in the camps. And I know it's extremely, when I went into the mind control training, there was no guessing, there was no experimentation. It was just done very precisely to get the result that they wanted, so that I'm a high functioning machine for their purposes. And I did not at that time have the distance to understand that I didn't want that anymore. I thought now, at age 9, I believed that I was this persona and that I was doing this. I wouldn't have called it abuse. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, you become immune to it It's like a mobster that kills somebody so many times. If you watch an interview with Richard Kuklinski, I think Richard, what's his last name, Rob? I think I'm saying it right. Iceman. And you see him in interviews when he's killing people. It's no longer a...
well, that's the network. In the network, this happens. And,
Right,
when you go to
Kuklinski.
any gang, you have these
Right.
little kids that get pulled in, and
Right.
it's either kill or die.
Sure.
And then, so they get pulled in that way. And it's the same in the network, with violence and pedophilia.
Mm-hmm. But let me stay on this with you here. So you then gave me a name. You said a woman. You didn't give me a name. You said a woman who would be seen as very innocent, because most of the time when we're thinking about this, you're thinking about man. Was this woman also at the same event?
Yes.
She would have to be in her 80s and 90s today.
Mm-hmm.
Politically related or business?
No, celebrity. Celebrity that I told you no one would believe. No one would believe it.
What? And this was in 73. That's 51 years, no, 70, yeah, 51 years ago.
Yeah.
That nobody would believe.
Nobody would believe today. No.
And what
Such
was...
an icon.